The cool thing about this show is we get thousands of new viewers every single day. So I wanted to get to know you guys a little bit better, okay? How long have you been a Ravens fan? We know this franchise started 30 years ago, 1996. So you tell me the year you started cheering on for the Baltimore Ravens down below in the comments section. We're about to get in the mailbag, okay? All these questions come from our live shows on Wednesdays. This is what the flock want to know, okay? Glad you're here. Now let's get into the video. This team makes me so sad. What the F is wrong with our offensive and defensive line? Man, what a loaded question. So I'm going to start with the defensive line. Unfortunately, you're dealing with the injuries of both Nnamdi Madubuike and, of course, Kyle Van Noy. That hurts a lot. Second, man, if you look at the end of last year, and if you just look at last year in general, yeah, they got sacks, but they struggled a lot getting pressure on the quarterback. And outside of drafting Mike Green and Aeneas Peebles, who, let's face it, they're rookies. Mike Green, so far, unfortunately, doesn't look that great. They really didn't do much to help it. And guys have really only gotten older, okay? And that's important for a guy like Kyle Van Noy, who is already decently old. There's a reason they call him Unc, okay? I also don't think they blitz enough. That's going to help your defensive line a lot if you blitz more. They blitz the 30th most out of National Football League teams. If you don't know how many teams are in the NFL, it's 32. So they blitz the third least of all teams in the National Football League. Offensive line now, I just don't think you got a really good interior. Plain and simple. I don't think Andrew Voorhees is very good. I don't think that Daniel Faalele is very good. So, just the way the cookie crumbles, just the way it is. Matty Boom, Henry should never be next to LJ, only behind him. Interesting. I'm going to take this as pistol or under center. And I don't disagree. Okay? I don't disagree. Because I think Derrick Henry is better when he's got a little bit of a head start. Right? I don't know if you watched the thing on Monday night, but they showed one of those like next-gen stats that he averages hitting the line of scrimmage at like 11.1 miles an hour, which is the second fastest of anybody in the National Football League. And when that guy has a head of steam already built up at his size, he becomes almost impossible to take down. So I'm not against, when they run read options, when they just hand it off to him, whether it's stretch, inside zone, anything, I'm not against doing that out of the pistol. I'm being 100% honest with you. Next question, this one coming up from another super chat, this one from our friend Jay Relomes. We need to have Hamilton play more of that Swiss Army knife role to improve pass rush a little bit. I hear what you're saying. Unfortunately, I just don't think we have the depth of safety to play Hamilton more in that Swiss Army knife role. And I don't know how much that would help the pass rush, unfortunately. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where Kyle Hamilton lines up. If you're not winning those one-on-one reps, your pass rush is not going to improve. That's what it's going to come down to, is those guys winning from the guy they're lined up across from. And they lost against the Detroit Lions. They lost all night long, man. So, unfortunately, you can put him wherever you want to. It's not really going to help. Should the Ravens trade for Cam Jordan? Coming in from Stevie's Wonder. Good question. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I don't think Cam Jordan's very good. Not anymore. He's old. He took a massive step back last season. I just don't think he's going to help your defense very much. Like, if you're going to make a trade for somebody, like I talked about on Wednesday, make a trade for a Dexter Lawrence, a Quinnen Williams, a Jeffrey Simmons, somebody who could come in here and shake up the way this game is played. Shake things up heavily on the interior, on the front. Cam Jordan doesn't do that anymore, unfortunately. If this was 2015, sure, I'm all for it, man, but it's not. It's 2025. Cam Jordan isn't the player that he used to be, unfortunately, and so trading for him, it's just not going to do much. Okay? I wish it would, but it won't. What say you guys? Should the Ravens trade for Cam Jordan? You give me a yes or a no in the comment section down below, okay? Yes means you want it to happen. No means you're like, I don't care. I personally would be typing yes. Some of you guys might be typing, or excuse me, I personally would be typing no. Some of you guys, maybe for one reason or the other, really want it to happen? And if that's you, tell me why in the comment section down below. Ravens 76B more with our next question. If we lose Sunday, you predict any big changes coming? Yeah, man, I do. If we lose Sunday and it shows another poor defensive effort, I think that possible defensive coordinator changes could be happening. I talked about it in Friday's video, and I might even be talking about it in this video coming up if that's one of the next questions. But I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Zach Orr loses his job, if there's another poor defensive showing. Maybe Chuck Pagano gets that promotion up. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does happen, I think it'd be warranted. I'll just say that, okay? Because what you've seen so far from a defense that's got this amount of talent, it's just flat out not good enough, guys. It's not good enough. Christian Coveney up next. Ooh, Joey, why do you think this team keeps shooting themselves in the foot? Do you also think they might sign or trade for defensive lineman / edge rusher? So on Wednesday, they signed a new defensive lineman. I think if it continues to be really bad and Nnamdi Madubuike has a really bad problem with his neck, as in he's going to be out for months, maybe they trade for an interior defensive lineman to kind of, substitute that loss. Now, why I think this team keeps shooting themselves in the foot, I don't know, man. I really don't. They have shown the exact opposite of having a clutch gene this season. Usually, I have a lot of confidence with the ball in Lamar Jackson's hand with the game on the line. But so far, through the 2 losses this season, he hasn't given me much to be confident about. Think back to Buffalo. Sure, the defense has sucked, and they've put the offenses in these situations. I'm not saying they haven't. But I want to talk about the offense for a second. Think back to Buffalo. You had the ball. All you had to do was get a first down. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Think back to Detroit. You had the ball in your hands down 4. Derrick Henry fumbled. You then had the ball in your hands again down 7. And you punted it away. You couldn't even cross the 50 in that case. I don't know what's going on with this offense, man. I really, really don't. Obviously, they're putting up points. I think they've scored 97 points this season. I'm not saying they're the problem. I'm just saying it's not 100% the defense's fault because they're putting the offense at least in some positions to go win the game. Moggs is up next. YTF, are we not grinding defenses down with short passes and screens to Zay, especially when he's so dangerous in open space? That would allow Lamar Jackson to build a rhythm and defensive tendencies. I don't disagree. It seems like that was kind of the game plan going into week 1 and week 2. You saw a ton of just quick targets to Zay Flowers. Get that man the ball. Get that man the ball in open space. We all know that Todd Monken loves to do that. It seemed like they went away from that for Detroit, and I don't know why. Especially with your offensive line being as poor as it's been. Dude, you want to get the ball out quickly. You want to, limit the amount of time that Lamar Jackson has to hold on to the ball, and you just want to get it to your best players and get it to them in space. I don't know why that's not happening. I hope that changes against the Kansas City Chiefs. What I also hope changes is y'all's iPhone home screen, because I hope you add something to it and our friends at PrizePicks by adding their app and using our code CLNS. Once you do that, you get $50 in lineups when you play $5. You and I make decisions every day. But on PrizePicks, you know what? It's really, really cool because being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. PrizePicks invented the Flex Play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And I want to talk about how awesome this Flex Play is. So say this is my PrizePicks lineup. I've got the more on Zay Flowers, half a receiving touchdown. The more on Derrick Henry, half a rushing touchdown. The more on Patrick Mahomes, 247.5 pass yards. Say those two things hit, and say you're just destroying Kansas City. Say Patrick Mahomes gets 150 passing yards. If you flex play it, you can get that wrong, and you could still win money. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Let's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Coming up, another $5 super chat from Jay Relomes. Does EDC go out for CJ Gardner-Johnson? I don't know, man. He's available at the current recording of this video. he got released by the Houston Texans. Was that Tuesday or Monday, Gage? I believe it was Monday as well. Got released from the Texans on Monday. I wouldn't hate it, but again, like in my opinion, your problem is not at the cornerback position. Your problem is at the defensive line. Plain and simple. I don't think they'll add to the cornerback position. I think Awuzie's been playing really well. I think Nate Wiggins has been playing really well. I think Marlon Humphrey has had highs and he's had lows. But do you know how hard it is to be a cornerback in the National Football League, having to cover somebody over you when the quarterback has unlimited time to throw the football? This defense gets better when the pass rush steps up. Okay? So I don't think they'll add C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Well, up next, if you could make a trade as Eric DeCosta, what would you trade and who would you trade for? I'd trade a third for Jeffrey Simmons. I think that's going to be the best value. You only give up a third-round pick. You get a guy that's always been the best player on his defense, and I think he'd be phenomenal in this Ravens system, playing for Zach Orr, playing for this defense, playing in this defensive line, and I really, really like Jeffrey Simmons, okay? I really, really do. So that's the move I would make. Up next is Duck. Considering how Mark did against the Lions, do you think he solidifies tight end 1 or Isaiah Likely? I think we got to see a couple weeks of Isaiah Likely. Mark was phenomenal, and that was great because he needed that game. We needed him to have that game, right? But Isaiah Likely hasn't played yet. Now, at the current recording of this video, he's still planning on playing Sunday against the Chiefs. I'd give him a couple of weeks. I'd give him the Chiefs game, the Texans game, and the Rams game. And I think after that, you'll be able to tell really who the tight end 1 is on this roster. But hey, hats off to Mark, man. Played a hell of a game. Really, really love seeing that from him. Occupy, in your opinion, what else needs to be done in order to put the Ravens on the right path? I don't know. I think Keaton Mitchell needs to be playing, and I think he needs to be integrated in this offense. I truly believe that. Maybe you need to max protect more. Maybe you need to run more 12 personnel. 2 tight ends in there, okay? Give Lamar Jackson maybe a little bit more time. And I think you got to make a move on the defensive line. I think you do. Trade somebody. Do something. I just don't think that unit, as it's currently constructed, is good enough to win you a Super Bowl, unfortunately. And I hate that because I had faith in them going into this year. Not like blind faith, but I had faith. Unfortunately, through the first 3 weeks, they're not looking good. Last up, before we get to, second to last up, Victor Denson. Should Chuck Pagano take over a bigger role on the defense? I wouldn't mind it, man. I'll tell you this. If Zach Orr gets fired, Chuck Pagano is the guy that's going to take over as defensive coordinator. I'll tell you that right now. So, I don't think that Zach Orr is going to get fired anytime soon unless the defense gives up like 60 against Kansas City. But with how bad that offense is in Kansas City, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a really good defensive showing. Chuck Pagano, maybe he needs to take a bigger role. I don't know. I would love it, man. I like Chuck Pagano. I really do. He sees the talent on this roster. We know he likes to blitz a hell of a lot more than Zach Orr does, so I wouldn't mind the move. Jack Harbaugh with our final question. What's up, Jack? What's been the Ravens' biggest problem? It's been the pass rush. It's what we've been talking about for the last 13, 14 minutes. It's not even close. When the quarterback has that much time to throw, I don't care if it's Darrelle Revis, Champ Bailey, Deion Sanders. I don't care who it is covering. You're not going to be able to stop anybody. The quarterback has all day. You got to put pressure. These guys are too damn good. There's a reason they're in the National Football League. They will pick you apart if they have all day to throw the football. Plain and simple. What do you think Baltimore's biggest problem has been? You let me know in the comment section down below. Okay? Comment your answer. Let me know. I gave you my answer. Now it's time for you to get me yours. Alrighty, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you got me on Twitter and Instagram at JoeyPeterson8 on both those platforms. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, change that today by hitting that big red sub button.